And welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show, folks. It is the Thursday edition on this week before Christmas. And, of course, yesterday the big news in the financial world was the Fed's decision and the rallying of the markets. Who better to talk to about all of that and the budget deal than our first guest, who is the host of CNBC's The Kudlow Report and host of the Larry Kudlow Radio Show, Larry Kudlow. Hello, Larry.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
All right. So were you surprised by the Fed's announcement yesterday, tapering off $10 billion a month, and by the market's reaction?
Well, I wasn't surprised about the taper. I had tweeted that, I guess, the day before. I figured they were ready. The economy's looking a little bit better, and it's time for the Fed to follow through on their so-called forward guidance and get moving, and let's get out of the business of quantitative easing. It's enough already. I'm not even sure it's helping the economy, but it's enough. So, no. I was surprised at the exuberance of the stock market. Absolutely, almost 300 points. Not sure I agree with the market's exuberance on that, but whatever. It was
well, they were happy, I guess, because it wasn't more of a tapering, you think?
You know, to be honest with you, and, you know, I'm a former Fed guy many years ago, and I've been watching this game for I don't know how many decades. I'm not really sure. How's that for a
There you go. I love an honest answer.
I'm not really sure because let me say two things on this. Number one, they're going to slow down this bond buying, which means the monetary base is going to slow down. They're not going to put as much new cash into the economy. And probably by the middle of next year, maybe October of the latest, it'll be over. No more QE. All right? That's a tightening. Now, Bernanke went out of his way, as did the full directive, to say, don't mistake this for tightening because we are going to be accommodative for a long time and we're going to keep the target rate, the Fed funds rate, right where it is at zero for as far as the eye can see, okay? Far as the eye can see. Now, I'm not sure what that means, all right? I just don't know. I don't know how the Fed can possibly know. They are going to wait, and here's the deal. There's no rules. Like, if you and I play a game of gin, or if you're my partner in bridge, there are rules, right? We're supposed to count up points and figure out what the convention is.
The Fed could make it up as they go along, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what always troubles me about the Fed.
Well, what about Yellen? Because she comes in, and when she was nominated, assuming she's confirmed, when she was nominated, the market rallied as well. They were thrilled because they believed all for the QE.
Yeah.
So is she going to continue the tapering or may reverse it? I mean, what do you think?
It's an odd story. I call her the Empress of the Doves, all right? This is a Keynesian, old-fashioned, very smart lady. Don't get me wrong, very smart. But, yes, a dove. Now, your question's the right question. Is she going to continue the tapering? And I think she will. And I think the preponderance of thinking at the Fed is to get out of the business of bond buying. They're $4 trillion balance sheet. What in the world are they going to do with that? How are they going to exit that strategy? Nobody knows. They don't know. I mean, so, yeah, she's probably going to continue it. On the other hand, let me just give you one more name, Stanley Fischer, okay? He's probably going to be the vice chairman of the Fed. This is a very smart guy, okay, MIT professor, but Chicago professor. He studied under Milton Friedman for a while. He kept the inflation rate down in Israel. He was their central bank governor. He kept Israel out of a terrible downturn when everybody else was going down, and he protected the value of the Israeli currency called the shekel. So that tells me he's a harder money guy than Yellen, and I think he's going to put a brake on her dovish instincts.
All right, interesting, yeah.
I'm watching gold falling today by about $40, and gold's been falling now for quite some time, from, 1900 to 1200. What does that tell me? It tells me money is going to get tighter and probably more valuable, and therefore I'm concerned that the stock market may have misread this story yesterday, and therefore may be due for a correction.
Very interesting. We're talking to Larry Kudlow here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let's talk.
Little counter wisdom, Steve.
Yeah. Well, what kind of correction you looking at? 10%, 5%?
I would say 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
I'm not a market timer. You know, I mean, I'm a TV correspondent, radio guy nowadays. But the fact is, I don't think the economy is in fabulous shape. It may be a little better around the edges, but there are serious holes in the economy.
Well, today we got twofold. We got housing, used home sales way down,
right.
and weekly unemployment claims
right.
way up again.
Right, not great.
Yeah.
And maybe the claims have something to do with Thanksgiving, but maybe not.
Yeah, you never.
Businesses are not investing long term. They're not. All right. The consumer is mensa. It's okay. The housing market, I know the number was lousy, but we've seen progress in housing and car buying. But look, it's hard for me to get better than 2.5% growth in my estimates.
All right.
That ain't great.
No. All right. I want to ask you, Larry, the budget deal.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good thing? Did the Republicans do the right thing in the House? You had about 12 or 14 Republican senators going along with it yesterday in the Senate. Are you surprised by that?
No. Let me say this: Paul Ryan saved the Republican Party from itself. That's what I see happening here. And it's more about politics than it is about fiscal policy or the budget. This was not a great deal. I don't think anybody, including Ryan, I interviewed him yesterday. He doesn't think it's a great deal. But here's what it did. It kept 70% of the sequester budget caps. I would have preferred 100. So would he. He didn't have the votes for that. So it kept 70% of the budget caps. No big Democratic tax increases. No extension of the unemployment compensation, which would have made unemployment worse, not better. And no shutdown. And I think that the GOP, which has such an advantage over Obama now, heading into the midterms on Obamacare, would have made a terrible mistake if they had harped on pluperfect sequester at the risk of a shutdown for which they would have been blamed and would have gotten Obama off the hook. And I'm glad that that Ryan got what he got, even though it was far from perfect.
Yeah, all right. So politically speaking, it was a good deal, you believe. Now, what about the debt ceiling comes up next? I mean, does Obama just have to name his amount and they sign off on it, you think?
I think they'll make a deal. You probably won't see this until, frankly, May or June. But I think they're going to make a deal, and we'll get through that. I don't think there's any appetite in the country for a shutdown. All right, I don't think there's any appetite for a breakdown in our debt ratings, and I don't think politically, again, the Republican Party doesn't want to get its nose in a wringer over an issue that, frankly, right now is not that important.
With health care out there in 014 coming. Now, let me speaking of 014 and politics here and elected officials, there's been speculation about your future, possibly politically, possibly running for governor, possibly running for the Senate. Where are you on that?
Those, Steve, are old speculations. That's the way I'd put that. I love my work. I love my TV show. I love my radio show. I love talking to you. I love talking to Christopher Wright. You want to put me in the Senate? Why would you do that to me? I thought you were my pal. Why would you do that?
So no interest, no draft movements, no nothing at all. You have no intention of running for political office. Is that what you're saying?
I had to say no. Let's see, 2 years ago in New York, and a couple years before that in Connecticut. I said no. It wasn't in my heart. And so, no, I don't see anything like that. I like to help. When people ask my advice, I've got plenty of advice to give, and I want to see the Republican Party. I really mean this. I want to see a pro-growth Republican Party.
I hear you, but if the Republican Party comes to you in New York or Connecticut or wherever and says, run, is it in your heart? Could it be in your heart? Yes or no?
Yes, no.
Yes, no.
It is not.
It is not. Okay, hey, Larry.
No, it's not in my heart.
Have a wonderful Merry Christmas, New Year, and I hope we speak again soon, sir.
And you too.
Thank you. Larry Kudlow, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You watch him on CNBC's The Kudlow Report. You listen to him on the Larry Kudlow Radio Show Saturdays. Check your local listing and many Cumulus radio stations around the country. Very, very interesting indeed. When we come back, we got a very interesting guest for you. General Michael Hayden will be here. Steve Malzberg Show.